Good morning, everyone. It's 8 o'clock on the start of your Tuesday morning. Hope you're off to a great start. Gosh, today is going to be the best day of the next 7. When you're stepping outside today, you'll notice it's sunny outside, but it's going to be almost 80 degrees. Here we are, May 7th. Can you believe it?
Bring your water bottle with you.
Mm-hmm.
Wash it first. We're going to talk about that coming up. We're going to talk about that coming up because I really was thinking too, like I was going to go grab mine from my car. And that's the point. I left it in my car last night. I didn't bring it. I washed it on Sunday. Like I washed on the weekend.
The anxiety here is kicking into overdrive.
Well, obviously I'm going to be one of those people, Ed, that we're going to talk about.
So we'll talk about that story. We also want to talk.
Always on overdrive, by the way.
We just need to cool the temperature a little bit. Okay, so then we also want to talk about the shooting.
Yeah.
This one overnight on Hertel Avenue. I woke up this morning, saw an alert in our email, Googled the address that was sent to us, and realized it was Del Demby's bar on Hertel Avenue, right next to Costa's. And so, your thought changes a little bit because this is a really popular area at what is a very old bar that a lot of people know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go to in North Buffalo. Yeah. Yet it's kind of like the juxtaposition to what we saw yesterday. I mean, this, according to police, was a bar fight. The shooting happened on the front patio of the bar. 1 o'clock in the morning, a 46-year-old man is now dead. Mm-hmm.
So this is Hertel. If you're not really familiar with North Buffalo, this is Hertel and Parkside. So you know where the zoo is, right? Way up on Parkside.
Walgreens.
Come on down towards Hertel. Okay, it's a pretty busy stretch there. Costa's, if you've ever been there, you can see Costa's on the left-hand side of that video. Dell's is in the middle. Wellington is nearby. Like Ed said, Walgreens is right across the street, that parking lot that everybody's been talking so much about lately. It's a really popular area. This bar stays open late. This is a Monday night at 1 o'clock. And then the shooting happening right on the front patio.
Okay, so here's my concern. Yesterday we were talking about, well, where are the parents, of this 14-year-old who was shot and killed? Well, same thing happened. It was a party that escalated into a fight. Then the shooting happened, except it was teenagers. Now it's, okay, there's a bar fight. A man in his 40s is dead after a shooting after a fight at a bar. So, it's kind of like, it's like both sides of the spectrum, yet yesterday we were like quick to blame the parents. Today, who do you blame? Well,
again, it's one of those things where we have said there are multiple layers, right, of a lot of things. And I don't think there's a lot of people out there who would disagree that guns could be part of the issue. Mm-hmm. That's the most PC way I can say it, because there's a lot of opinions out there.
Well,
I get it.
Kind of what Zanetta was saying. Zanetta Everhart, whose son Zaire was shot in the Top Smash shooting 2 years ago, survived, but obviously still living with the trauma. Kim says, oh my gosh, this is terrible. It's like a pandemic. The city is out of control. But see, and that's the other thing too, like, it's not. Mm-hmm. And obviously one shooting is one too many. But in context, shootings are actually down.
Right.
Shooting deaths are down. But here we are, we've got 2 shooting deaths in a matter of days.
Do you know what it is too? In a way, these are like high profile things to have happen, mm-hmm. right? Because the one was a 14-year-old girl. The other is this man who's here at, a street that so many people are familiar with and an area a lot of people go to. It's horrible no matter how you discuss it, what you have to say. And, you hate to see anybody ever lose their life in any regard, and both of these kind of stemming from fights.
Well, and that's my point. So, yesterday, again, we were saying, okay, well, where are the parents? Who should be held accountable? How is this happening? These are teenagers. On the other hand, should we have guns in bars? Should we have security at bars? Marcella's shut down because of shootings at the bar. Mm-hmm. Yet here we are. And there was literally a shooting on the patio of this bar on Hertel.
Well, and I know for a fact that I can't speak to last night in particular, but I know in the past Dell's has had security.
And is it metal detectors? Is it?
I don't believe metal detectors, but they have bouncers. I mean,
well, every bar has a bouncer, right? I mean,
no.
So
every bar doesn't have a bouncer.
Many bars do have bouncers, though, especially that bar. Yeah,
but this is different. Like, this is a late night, a bar that's open late night. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of places that are open that don't. This place does. A lot of places can, a lot of places in the area close earlier, so people might go there. But they, at least I do know in the past, and again, can't speak to last night, that they did have people in place to potentially.
Yeah, but a bouncer is different than security. Security is completely different. Security is like somebody who's, they're actually conducting the security. Security is not a bouncer. A bouncer is somebody who's checking IDs and saying, oh, this is a bad guy, get him out.
Also mitigating arguments and fights. Like that happens too.
Right. But I'm saying like guns. Like what precautions are there at bars to stop guns from getting inside?
I couldn't speak to that right now.
So,
but neither could you. You don't know.
But at Marcella's, I'm saying Marcella's was shut down. Marcella's literally had security to get in, literally patting you down, going twice, but it was shut down.
But that's like the one bar here that has that. I mean, what other bars, Cuppies, do we know of that has a metal detector to go through when you go into the bar?
But my point is that they had the security. They
still got shut
down.
They have multiple shootings. There are multiple things there. But like, do we need that at other places? I don't know. I personally feel more comfortable, I guess. I'm not really out late anymore. I'm in bed by 9 o'clock. But like, I guess I feel more comfortable knowing that there's somebody there who is there to mitigate a fight, to get people out in theory. But you also never know if people are carrying.
Well, here is a fight too, and yet we see what happened.
And you never know if people are carrying weapons with them. What's the rule for carrying? Like, are you allowed to carry? There's a lot of questions, and like a lot of like depends. Are you allowed to say you can bring your gun into? Is it the restaurant's policy, the bar's policy? How does that work?
I'm fairly certain, like in Niagara County, I'm fairly certain that there has to be a posting on the window that says this establishment allows guns inside.
Yes, I totally remember that in Niagara County, yeah.
Nicole says someone that carries a gun should not be drinking. Permit holders know that. James says, I once went into a bar and was patted down. I didn't like being touched, but I appreciate that they went to such extremes. Sherry says bartenders need to be cutting people off if customer is intoxicated. Jeff saying that's correct about Niagara County. So what would you prefer? I mean, you can go into a bar, you can go into a movie theater, you can go into a supermarket, and something can happen.
Sure.
And it's, I think, frustrating for a lot of people.
Then it comes to, are we going through a metal detector? We go to a supermarket?
Kim wondering, was the person that did the shooting caught? As far as we know at this point, no arrests have been made. And Buffalo police are looking for any information that could lead to arrests of this person or people, whomever it is. Linda, at one of our town board meetings, we had to go through a metal detector because of a possible situation.
Danny's saying he carries even in church.
Right. Well, and we saw what happened in that other, remember recently, that video we just saw on Good Morning America.
And Adam's saying a lot of times bouncers, Adam's probably out a lot more than we are, act as security at the bars, and that he's never been through a metal detector to go to a bar. I don't know that I ever have either.
I'm telling you, the only place I've ever been through it is Marcella's.
Right. So, I mean, right.
And so they have, what they claim is the utmost security, and yet, the police are saying guns are still getting through.
Now, here's the other thing, too, that we actually really don't know about this. Okay, yes, we're told it started as a fight at this bar. I guess you don't actually know if the gun was ever inside. You don't know yet. Hopefully we'll learn more information, but it could have started, somebody could have gone and got, you just don't know. The long and short of it is it's scary to really even think about. I like that, Jim.
Yeah, we could use more video surveillance on these streets.
Jeanette, too, mentioning how the students go through metal detectors. And remember when we were at one of the grade schools and we watched kids go through metal detector. I mean, we're talking little kids, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds. They'd go through the metal detectors, and then if they found something in their backpack, they would take it out.
There are these evolved systems, and it's kind of almost like airport security. And I'm fairly certain that like Shays is also using very similar technology nowadays. You go into a Shays performance and you're walking through a metal detector, you're getting wanded, your bags are being screened.
No metal detector, but they looked in my purse. I don't think I went through metal detector at Chase. I think they looked in my purse. KeyBank Center, we were just there, had the clear purse, went through metal detector for sure, and put my bag there.
So I wonder, what is the solution here? Because, yesterday was a teenager issue. Here we are, a man who's nearly 50 is being shot dead at a bar. Kim says metal detectors are going to be the way of life. Bill, good morning to you, says, I've taken the security guard class, non-carry. They are taught not to put their hands on anybody. Just be a good observer and tell the police what they saw.
What's the security guard class? I'd be interested to hear that.
Kelly says it's personal accountability, not the guns. People are not teaching their children compassion and empathy at a young age. We have a society of sociopaths who do not value life. The people who are shooting other people do not value life, and they should be held responsible, not just the guns.
Well, so we were actually just saying in the newsroom afterwards, like, can you imagine like ever having something escalate to the point where you thought, I'm going to get a gun? Like, she's not, who's that? Kelly, you're not wrong in the sense that like that, there are people that would never even cross their minds.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
like, it's not what.
Now, okay, I'll read this comment first. Jenna says, I get both sides. People who carry and abide by the law should be able to do so. That's the reason you have it, for protection at any time you need it. But most of these instances happen from the people that don't follow laws and are not trained to carry.
Or carry illegally.
It's not the healthy law-abiding citizens usually that are the danger. It's the ones that they want and don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so here was my, Jim's answering your question about the security guard class. If you can stop a criminal, you should. Oh, I don't think he was answering your question, actually. He's saying if you're a security guard and if you can stop a criminal, you should. Most times, and I don't know what this exact statistic is, but most times the good guys with the gun aren't able to stop the bad guys with the gun.
Yeah, that's what studies have shown, right?
So it's kind of an interesting argument. But at the same time, if you are a law-abiding citizen, you're not going to take out your gun to shoot somebody if you are somebody who's allowed to carry and you're thinking clearly to settle a fight, chances are you're not going to use a gun to settle it.
Right. I don't know. Mark says years ago in the 70s and 80s, bar fights were just that. They were fights. Now people carry a gun. Jeff said, whatever happened to settling an argument with a few punches?
Linda says, think about the games kids are playing. To get to win the game, you've got to shoot people. What is that teaching our kids?
Interesting point.
So does this go back to the video game conversations of like the 90s?
I mean, maybe, but also this, our latest victim here is 46 years old. Who knows? We don't know anything about the shooter, though. So,
right. Sarah says, I'm so sick of gun violence. I want them all banned. I understand police and military. My husband is a cop. Brandon saying, criminals don't follow laws and guns will always be out there. Police no longer can make arrests and have to hand out appearance tickets. Well, I feel like it's a little bit of a different story, though, in this kind of a situation. Appearance tickets are certainly used. We just saw a case in point in Amherst where that student who was arrested, accused of making terroristic threats, was arrested, charged, given an appearance ticket, let out of jail.
This is, Brandon, I don't know that I think there's a lot of people who would agree with the fact that it doesn't matter what kind of laws you have in place, right? The bad people will always find a way around things like this. I guess the question is, can we mitigate that at all? I don't know.
Lauren says, this is why I stay home. Everyone is crazy. Again, just for context, because I think that perspective is really important here in this conversation. Gun violence in the city of Buffalo is actually down year over year. And in 2023 compared to 2022, we saw that drop. And between 2006 and 2023, we saw that homicides were down in the city of Buffalo. But again, I go back to my point, though, here we are twice in 2 days, we're seeing, much of that same violence. Donna says, so many guns in the wrong hands. They have no respect for others' lives.
Yeah. I mean, this is a topic that there's a lot of voices on, right? A lot of different opinions. I think what I'm most interested in at this exact point in time is finding out what happened that night. And frankly, in both cases, right? Because we don't have the what happened minus the fact that there was a fight. We don't have a suspect in either of these cases right now. So that's kind of where I want to get some more information before I start thinking, okay, how do we really, or what led to all of this?
We should point out in the shooting that happened over the weekend, that Saturday shooting that killed the 14-year-old girl, there's a $7,500 reward being offered for any information leading to an arrest, and that's being offered through Crime Stoppers. We've got more information on WKBW.com. And John, maybe you can drop a link in the comments to the information for Crime Stoppers and about Jasmine, who is that 14-year-old girl who was shot and killed. You know, again, all of this also kind of coming up on the 2-year anniversary as we mark 2 years since the Top Smash shooting. And I was talking to Garnell Whitfield yesterday. His mother, Ruth, was killed in the shooting. He mentioned that we have to break the cycle here in order for things to change.
And what does he want to, how does he want to do that? Because I think that's the big question a lot of people have. I love that idea.
Right.
Love that concept. What is his how?
I think the how is anyone's guess, really. I don't know that anyone has the answer for how. I think the how on the East Side is breaking systemic issues that have been plaguing the community.
Which we talked about yesterday is so many things, but you have to make them all get changed at once.
Exactly.
To come to some sort of actual change. Because if you're going to do this, you got to make sure you're doing this. If you're going to do it right, if you're going to tell the kids they can't be here, then you got to give them a place to go. If you're going to give them a place to go, you got to make sure that it's safe. Exactly. You know what I mean? Right.
Mark says, wondering if they'll close the bar down like they do in other areas. And that was my point here, too. You know, like they closed Marcella's. There were a number of shootings there. At what point is one enough? You know, but, you know, at Marcella's case, they've got all of the security, all of the, you know, facilities that they need to stop this kind of violence. Yet it's still getting done. It's still happening.
Well, weren't they having a problem with ghost guns? Was that part of it? Or
They had said that it was a ghost gun.
They had thought maybe that's how it got, that potentially that's how something had gotten through.
Correct. But then Police Commissioner Joe Gramalia says, okay, well, if you're still going through a metal detector, things would still beep, things would still go off because there are still metal components in this. Because it's just it's a plastic gun.
Right. But he's saying there's still some sort of metal component in it.
Right. Your mom weighing in here.
Things to think about out there, you know?
She says, this is such a shame because I feel like the city has made so many improvements in so many areas and more people are heading into the city to do things. This is going to turn things around for a lot of people who are borderline about going into the city.
She's probably not wrong because there are people who get nervous when they hear about this kind of stuff and don't hear the context always, or they think the two places I hear about or think about going a lot when I go downtown Buffalo are like, let's say downtown, Elmwood, and Hertel. I mean, those are some of the 3 big places people go and you're like, okay, well, here's, you know, something happening right there.
Well, and that's what Jeff is kind of saying here. Not that I go to Buffalo much, but one shooting is enough to keep me out of a place. I mean, this is like, it's 1 o'clock in the area, you know, and it's interesting. Somebody was kind of scolding me yesterday here saying that I need to get my head out of the sand, explaining those statistics and the context, because I was saying, you know, this was a large party that spilled out, yet shootings were down. And they were explaining that, you know, go to the East Side at 1 o'clock in the morning and you know who's going to be shot. Somebody's going to be shot. That's not the case. Because I was saying that this area where that shooting happened with the teenagers over the weekend is not a hotspot for violence, according to police. So, you know, that to me was kind of like a dog whistle because it's the same thing here. You're out at a bar at 1 o'clock in the morning and a 46-year-old man gets shot.
Diane, I have always felt like this. It's part the old lady in me, but part they always say, there was what was that show, How I Met Your Mother, where they'd say nothing good happened after 2 a.m. Well, she says nothing good happens after midnight. You know, sometimes like if you're open super late, you just never know. Like you might get people who've been out for so long, like just to mitigate. Personally, I'm like, I don't want to be out that late because you kind of run into people who've been going a little too hard.
Well, and here's the opposite side of that is the bars. The late night economy, the late night entertainment industry thrives after midnight.
Does it?
Yes. In Marcella's, and I have spoken to them in depth about all of this. They are making their money after midnight.
Who are you people who are going out after midnight? I don't have the stamina to do that.
Right. I don't either. I mean, I was invited to go out at 11 o'clock at night the other night. I'm like, are you kidding?
Did you respond to them the next morning at 6 a.m. when you woke up?
What a joke.
Because you were asleep for 2 hours?
Stacy, good morning to you. She says, I think it also starts with parents. I know kids will be kids, but know where your kids are, whose house this was, and why did they let a bunch of underage kids throw a party? Parents need to know the signs of violence in their kids. It starts with checking in on them mentally. Parents need to discipline more. Perfect example of the 14-year-old who stole a car at 10 a.m. Why wasn't she in school and then got arrested the next day? If that was my kid, she wouldn't see the light of day. We were having this conversation yesterday. And, you know, I think you're onto something when you say that not every parent is present or able to be present.
That's part of the problem. Yeah, maybe 10 a.m. she should be in school. What if her mom's at work? and she doesn't know she didn't go to school.
And how many kids cut class?
What if her mom's not there? And she, there's a lot of. It's so hard because we're all going to think differently about this. Boy, like Paul and I were having this discussion last night, and we both have very different opinions on different things. And there's some things that we do agree on, but everybody's going to land in different places when you talk about how to fix this stuff.
Barb says we had our breakfast club on the east side this past Saturday, and it was fine. And we were all white. She's laughing. She says shootings happen anywhere these days. And that's kind of my point in saying, it's not just the east side.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is literally North Buffalo. A bar fight led to a shooting.
Right. And I mean, we've seen stuff like this happen randomly at places over the years, right? Like we've both seen like shootings, bar fights lead to people dying. Like I'm thinking, back to some of the restaurants and late night events that made headlines over the past few years. By a few years, I mean like 10, 15 years. But you know what I mean? Like we've seen this happen. This kind of stuff happens. There's shootings occasionally. Like there was that shooting at the one restaurant out in Amherst. This stuff happens.
Was that Zoe's?
Yeah. When there's interpersonal, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Helen says kids are being brought up in violent homes, and that's tough. But I also like what Danielle is saying. Good morning, Shanessa. Glad you're with us. How about those dirty water bottles?
Okay, we're gonna switch gears this morning, okay? Jim, although I do like your thing, my bar is at home, drinks are cheaper. I am the same way. All right, so here's our issue with the water bottles, how often you clean them. Do you do it every single day? And I'm gonna tell you, like I just said to Ed, I don't. Mine's in my car right now from yesterday because I forgot to bring it into work today. But they're saying you should be cleaning it every single day because they're really environments where bacteria likes to grow, especially the moving parts. So think like the tops and the straws.
Right. I'm not a water bottle cleaner, to be honest with you.
So disgusting.
I know. I bring my water bottle with me to the gym, and it's the same one. It just stays in my car. I know it's there. I'm bringing it in with me and out with me.
I think you need to wash it because here's my concern about you at the gym. You're touching everything, and then you're touching this, so you just never know.
Yeah, it's disgusting. You know what they're saying the worst parts are, aside from the straws and the tops? Like,
I know exactly what you're going to say.
The rubber.
Those little rubber rings are the biggest pain in your you-know-what.
Yeah.
When you take them off and then try to get them back on.
Because it ruins the seal.
It ruins the seal. I know.
So how does your drink stay in the water bottle, let alone hot or cold?
Or like you put it in the dishwasher and now it's a little too big or it's a little too small.
Jeanette says, I don't, but I do try to rinse in hot water, and I wash the straws every day at some point. Lauren Brian just rinses his. I love this comment from Marguerite. My water bottle's keeping Aaron's gym clothes company.
Yeah, you two are both gross. No, I got a pack of rubber straws once, like reusable straws, right? It came in like the FabFitFun or something like that. And that's what came, Ed, with that pipe cleaner thing. It was a pack of like 5 rubber straws like this and then a cleaner.
I'll tell you, I'd be the one who loses it.
Well, here's the problem. It's big enough for the straws, but the straw for my water bottle, because I've got one of those families, fake Stanley, is this tall. So you can't get the whole, you'd have to go both sides, which is not the biggest deal in the world, but it would not be
actually getting totally clean.
Hopefully. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't know. I throw a little dishwashing soap in it and put it under the water and like give it, I wash it, but like I'm not going to town washing this water bottle.
My problem is that if I bring my water bottle inside, I'll forget to bring it with me to the gym. So then I'll be really screwed. People have become, Anita says, I need to use the harder plastic reusable clear straws. Jeff Baker says he usually cleans his after using it for vodka drinks.
And Zia, if you want to go back to the very start of Second Cup, we talked about that for about 20 minutes or so. So you'll be able to get all the information that we have on the shooting in those first 20 minutes there.
Okay, Tim, try cleaning a Camelback. That has got to be so difficult. Those little backpacks
that you run with.
Yeah, and it's got like the rubber straw that you can just guzzle. Nice to have while working out or on a bike ride, but a pain to clean. Yeah. Yikes.
Especially because when we think about all the stuff that we touch while working out and how gross we are and how sweaty we get.
Well, listen, we're going to be following up with lawmakers today about the shooting. I tried to get Joel Ferroletto on Second Cup with us, but, he's got little kids, so he might be taking care of them, getting them ready for the day ahead. Rashid Wyatt's district is also nearby. So those two lawmakers in particular are people that we should be speaking with.
I think we'll also probably try to talk to the Hertel Business Association.
Yeah, of course.
There's a lot of, especially with the comments. Think about the comments that we've seen today, making people nervous.
So we'll be following this one for you throughout the day. We'll probably have that same conversation again tomorrow morning on Second Cup. And we appreciate hearing your voice. It's important to share all perspectives here.
Appreciate the almost 400 of you who are with us today. Thanks
Have
for joining.
Have a great day, everyone.